lamp out.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the live stream. I'm Kasie Whitener, and with me is Amber Wheeler-Bacon, our
How's it
conference
going,
director
guys?
for SCWA. We are here tonight to talk to you guys about the virtual conference and also the annual conference coming up in October. So we've got a chock full of events here in the month of October. And I'm just going to ask, I think I'm just going to like have Amber talk, and then I'll just ask you questions when I think like, sometimes you talk about this and because you know it so well, you talk about it like some things that like the rest of us don't really know. So if I hear anything that I'm like, wait, what does that mean? I'll interrupt. But otherwise, this is your show. You do the thing.
Should I talk about the virtual conference first, since there's still open registration, still some spots left for that one?
Yeah, let's start with that. So the virtual conference is October 7th through the 9th. And so
Right.
this year we're running 2 conferences in the same month. What's behind that decision? Why did SCWA decide to do that?
Well, I mean, we made the decision in, I think, late 2020. No, I'm sorry, early 2021, for maybe like May of 2021, that we were going to have a 2022 conference in the fall. And at that point, COVID was still very much, around and happening. We weren't really sure what was going to go on, but we were really, really committed to having an in-person event. And so we kind of said, well, let's try to do both. So that's sort of what we did. And it's double the work, but double the fun.
Double the fun, Amber. It'll
Yeah,
be double
double
the
the
fun.
fun.
We'll get to spend a lot of time together this month. It's going to be
Yeah,
great.
yeah.
All right, well, tell people what the virtual conference is all about.
So the virtual conference it starts on Friday evening or Friday afternoon, October 7th. And what we really tried to do is we looked at all of the member surveys and all the surveys that had gone out about the events that Kasie, you and I had led over 2021, our kind of like COVID year. And what members and those who had attended said is they wanted kind of like an equal they wanted an equal sort of offering of craft workshops. They still really wanted the craft workshops, but they also wanted publishing workshops, both panels and agent sessions, things like that, but also sessions for indie authors. And so we really tried to, for the virtual conference, offer something for everyone. So the kind of heart of it is on Saturday, there are some craft workshops by genre. So there's a fiction, a nonfiction memoir, and a poetry. I'm really, really excited about these craft workshops. I'm going to go to all of them because even though I write mainly fiction, both the nonfiction and the poetry workshops just sound so fun, and like you could get so much out of them. For any kind of writer can get a lot out of them.
It's
Um,
interesting. Real quick, so you said you're going to go to all of them. I think it's probably important to point out that none of the sessions in the virtual conference are happening concurrently. So if you sign up for the virtual conference, you can in fact attend all of the sessions that are being offered because they're not happening at the same time. So people don't have to make a choice between which session they go to, right? That's a really cool feature of this year's virtual conference.
well, there are a couple like simultaneous things, but they're more like at the same time that the memoir craft workshop is happening. There's like a small critique roundtable happening. So there's a few concurrent events, but the competing events aren't. If you're really interested in one, you're probably not that interested in the other. Is kind of the way that we did it. So on Sunday morning there is an agent panel and an agent Q&A. But then at the same time, there's something for indie authors with Alexa Big Wharf, who works with indie authors a lot. So we kind of there are a few concurrent happenings, but they're kind of like geared toward sort of people with different needs. And every session is being recorded. So even if you miss something, if you did want to go to both the indie author session and the agent Q&A, you could go get the recording for it. So but
Gotcha.
let me just go ahead.
I was just saying, gotcha. Why don't you go ahead and walk us through it? Who's our faculty and what sessions can we look forward to?
Yeah, so this is the website right now that everyone who registers for the conference gets to go. They get a little extra tab up here and gets to go into the conference lobby. And from the conference lobby, they would go here to access sessions. So this is our schedule. So we start Friday night with an indie author panel led by Reagan Teller, which I know, Kasie, you have gone to some of her workshops, and I'm just like always blown away by um, how interesting she is and how informative her sessions are. So she's going to lead an indie author panel with a few different indie authors who have kind of like different takes on how they go about self-publishing. And I think actually, Kasie, you're going to join this too as an indie author because you publish with a very small press, right?
Yeah, in fact, Reagan, you're exactly right that everything she does is such high quality. And she sent us questions like a week ago, and we were supposed to get our answers to her this week. So like we're like 2 weeks in advance. We're supposed to be ready for this. And I was kind of laughing about it. I was like, gosh, that's like homework. But yeah, so she has a really great lineup of questions, and then she asked each of us to pose our own question. So
Oh,
something
that's
that would
great.
be specific to us as individual authors. And then so I sent it to her, and then she goes, are you going to send me your answer to that too? And I was like, well, yeah, it's a pretty easy one. Because told her to well, you know what, I won't give it away. People need to come to the conference and hear my independent answer there. But yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun Friday night.
Okay, yeah, so that'll be great for indie authors. We have after that we have a session also for indie authors, but for anyone. Katoya Ellis Fleming is an editor for Lookout Books, which is a UNC press, and she's also the an editor for Ecotone magazine, which is one of my favorite literary magazines, probably in the top 10 literary magazines in the country. And so she is doing a session on editing your own work and how to go about that and different ways to approach editing to be gentle with yourself, but also, kind of hold yourself to high standards too. So I think that's going to be really a really great session on Friday. Then we have faculty readings and the TPR launch party. TPR just came out. So we're going to get some TPR readings and I think like a little bit of a celebration on this issue. So that's happening Friday. And then Saturday. So these are the craft workshops that I'm super, super excited about. The first one is it's a flash fiction workshop called This Will Only Take a Minute. And Libby Flores is an incredible teacher, incredible writer. She works for Bomb magazine. But I've actually taken this class, which is why I reached out to her. So this is a really great class to take. And then happening at the same time is a nonfiction memoir roundtable. So it's kind of like a small group feedback, a chance to get feedback, led by Vivian Bickledge. And then we also, again, we were trying to kind of please everyone with this virtual conference, and so a lot of indie authors said they wanted a book design workshop, and so we're so excited to have Kate Arden McMullen, who does book design for Hub City Press, and they have some of the most incredible book designs. She's going to give a book design workshop, and then after that, this is one of the ones that I'm really, really excited about is the generative memoir workshop. Megan actually was she was one of our writing conversations authors who came in November of 2021, and she was one of our most popular ones. And so we brought her back, and she's doing this sort of generative workshop using like cross genre exercises, play, drawing, art making to kind of like jumpstart our writing. So I'm super, super excited about that. Um, and happening at that time is the poetry roundtable with Evelyn Berry, who is going to lead a group of like a critique group for poetry. And then this one I'm super, super excited about. The second, she sent me like numerous workshop ideas. Esther Lee, the poetry workshop, and I was like, oh God, we have to do that one. So you bring 3 photographs from your youth, and you basically, with these 3 photographs, you sort of analyze them and create work based on these 3 photographs. And so I'm going to use it for my fiction, even though it's a poetry workshop. But I am super, super excited about that workshop. Um, And then happening at that same time is Maria Piccone, who is our TPR managing editor. She is leading the Fiction Roundtable, which is, a small group, uh, critique group as well. And then that evening we have the open mic, which I didn't know I was hosting it. So I'm glad. I'm glad I'm looking at this. Um,
Well, we can do that together. We can host it together. I'm excited about open mics. I love open mics. We'd like to get as many opportunities for our people to perform their work as we possibly can. And even in a virtual open mic, which we've been doing with the Pat Conroy Literary Center for a few months now, even in a virtual open mic, you get a chance to hear what your work sounds like as you're reading it out loud. So it's really useful in terms of getting better at the craft, but also that presentation skill, just being able to discuss your work or present your work, perform your work, if you will, is just a huge skill. So I'm really excited
Yeah,
about that. I'll
it's so
definitely be
hard.
part of
It's so
that.
hard to be good at it. So yeah, any practice. I remember at my first MFA residency, we had, the student readings, and I was like, "There's no way I'm doing that. I don't have anything good enough." And another student who was graduating was like, "Listen, get up there and like read an email you got, or like read like a letter that you got from when you were a kid. Just like read anything, read someone else's work. It's just about really like getting up there and reading." Work. And that was really important for me to hear then, and because it really is something that you have to work at. So yeah, so if you're either already registered or we've got 8 spots left, go ahead and register and come to the open mic, definitely. And then Sunday morning, we continue, and we've got an agent Q&A with Michaela Whitnall, who works at one of the best agencies there is. It's called Distel Goderich and Brett, and they are looking for new work, and so they are going to sort of demystify the agenting role a little bit, tell us, what sort of answer our questions and tell us a little bit about how to find an agent. And then at that same time, Alexa Bigwharf, who is going to give her publish like a pro workshop, insider secrets for indie authors, which has always been really, really popular.
Yeah, people love that.
Yeah, and then last but not least, we always kind of end with Slush Fest, because I like to end with it because it's sort of like, all right, here's what's good, here's what we need to work on. Now let's go out into the world and work on our stuff. But yeah, so the agent, Michaela, and then editor Katoya Ellis Fleming, who's giving the editing workshop, they are going to be doing the Slush Fest and responding in real time to everybody's work.
I'm sorry. I want to give a quick shout out to Jody Kane Smith. She's typing in. She's leaving us comments on this, and she's organizing the Mobile, Alabama Literary Festival, and so she's got to run and go eat dinner. So she's like, "Please say hi, hi, Jody
Yeah.
Kane Smith."
Hey, how you doing?
We hope to see you at the virtual conference. We miss you.
Yeah,
But
definitely.
yes, she said what she said was, "I'm going to steal the book design module for the Mobile Literary Festival because it's a brilliant idea." And I was like, "Absolutely, it's so needed." And a lot
Yeah.
of our indie authors really appreciate having that insider look to what should you be looking for when you go looking for a book designer, and what makes a book stand out and things like that. So it's gonna be awesome. She said the conference sounds amazing, and I agree because Amber's amazing, and so you've assembled a really great cast for our faculty here, and really have built, I think, enough to satisfy just about any kind of author, any type of author that we might have that will be in attendance. So this is really good stuff. The virtual conference what it offers, I think, is a safe environment that for people who are worried about travel, who are worried about their health, right? But it also creates for you the ability to learn in your own environment in a way that then you can go immediately back to work, right? So sometimes we
Mhm.
think of like going on site and at the beach conference is like an escape, like let me get away and go focus on writing for the weekend. But sometimes when you do the virtual conference at home, you can then immediately turn from whatever it is you're working on in back into your work because you're in your regular workspace. So I'm excited about the virtual conference, but I'm also really excited about the on-site conference at Polly's Island. So why don't you tell us a little bit about that one?
So that one is, well, let me just really quick for the virtual. We have a few spots left. We really are keeping it kind of at a minimum of 50 people for the virtual conference so that the sections, the workshops cannot be too big. We're thinking that there's probably going to be around 20 in each workshop, unless it's one of the big ones like the agent. Q&A or something like that. But so we wanted to keep those numbers small. So go ahead and get your ticket, get your registration in if you want to attend. We'd love to have you.
Yeah, let me
For the
put those dates up there
in-person,
again real quick. Those virtual conference dates are October 7th through the 9th. And if you're looking for where you can go and register, go out to myscwa.org and you'll be able to register there.
yeah.
All right. So the annual conference.
Annual conference sold out. We're done, thank God. I don't have to like keep adding. Um, that's one more thing I don't have to, email people about. So yeah, so we're done, closed registration, and so now we're just in the. I had a meeting today, getting like all the food numbers in and getting the rooms checked out for everyone. But yeah, so excited. For our keynotes, we have Lee Stein, who is like one of the most popular faculty at our 2018 conference, and she's also published a couple of really well received books since then. So she's a keynote, and then Ashley M. Jones, who's been like all over the place, like Good Morning America and all these talk shows, because she's the first Black and youngest poet laureate in Alabama history, and to be a Black poet laureate of Alabama is like kind of a big deal. So anyway, so yeah, so there are our keynotes. We're going to have kickoff Friday evening, the reception with a welcome from you, Kasie, and then our keynote from Lee, and then have a combination of like craft sessions. We have two editors there, two agents. The faculty, we have a lot of faculty this time, which has been it was like a lot, but
It complicates things to
yeah,
say
it
the least,
complicates
right?
things, but I think it's gonna be really, really it's gonna be a great weekend.
Yeah,
But yeah,
should be really great.
so many sessions. We have like, fiction workshops on plot. Ed Southern, who has a really his book about Alabama football was a SEBA, I think it was a SEBA finalist for like best nonfiction book of the year. He's going to be there, and he's giving a nonfiction um, session on research, like what is it? Tying in research without losing the thread, or something. The thread of the story. I'm really actually excited. I even though I write fiction, I want to go to that just because I think it's really good for anyone writing any kind of historical fiction or whatever to kind of balance that story and how much do you do research and when do you do it. So I think that's going to be a really good session. Gary Jackson's coming, and he's going to do kind of like one of those poetry roundtable. He's going to give feedback in real time, which is really great. He was another popular faculty from 2018. We've got Slush Fest again. This Slush Fest is full. We've got like agents, editors. We've got an editor contacted me last week and just said randomly, like, "Hey, I want to come to your conference and meet with people because I'm looking for Southern fiction." And and I looked her up, and her name's Rochelle Gardner, and she's like incredible. All these deals, like hundreds of deals, and I was like, "Yes, you can definitely meet with our
We would
people."
love to have you there. So
Yeah.
let me ask you this: how many people do we have that are registered for both the annual conference at the beach, but also the virtual conference? Is there a lot of double dipping, or are people tending to do one or the other?
I think there's probably like maybe uh, 25 who are doing both.
Cool. So I talked to a gal today who I hadn't seen since before COVID, and I saw her today, and I was like, "Hey, how have you been?" And she's like, "Oh my God, I'm coming to both conferences. I'm so excited." She said, "I haven't written very much lately, and I really need to get back to it." And I thought this was the perfect thing to get me back to it. So I'm really excited about seeing her and having her be able to be part of both of these events, and then being able to do that sort of compare contrast, like what worked for the one, what didn't work for the
Yeah,
other.
yeah,
Like
I'm
we're
really
always
interested
trying to
in
get
that
better at
too.
this.
Yeah, I'm really interested in that too. I'm actually going to for this Saturday workshops. I'm going to go over to a couple of friends and I are going to go and sort of like do those craft workshops together, like all in the same place to feel sort of like we're still online, but we're still we're kind of together too. And then Friday I'll be on my own and Sunday I'll be on my own. But I'm kind of excited to like add that element
Yeah,
to the
that'll be great.
virtual.
I didn't
Yeah.
think about that, but maybe I'll see if my chapter here, my Blythewood chapter wants to
Oh,
get
that would be
together and
fun.
attend
Yeah.
together. That would be fun. All right, cool. Anything else that people need to know? So we know the virtual conference still has a few conditions left, a few positions left, I should say. So people
Mhm.
can still register for that. If you go out to my scwa.org, choose events, and then select virtual conference. And sorry, folks, you're just going to have that FOMO when it comes to
I know.
the annual conference because we're
You
all
had
sold
9
out for that.
months.
Yeah, excellent work on both of these things, Amber. You're just such a tremendous asset to the South Carolina Writers Association. Thank you so much
Thanks.
for all of your hard work and all the stuff that you've done for us. You continue to produce really high quality sessions for everybody and for every event that you are a part of. So thank you so much. I appreciate you.
All right. Well, hopefully, like 2022 will be going out in a good, going out with a bang, a positive bang. But we'll see.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
always the best is yet to come too, right? We still have, next year and the year
Yeah.
after and the year after. All right, happy writing, South Carolina Writers
Okay.
Association. Glad to
Bye,
see
guys.
all of you. Thanks for joining us. Thank you, Amber. Go to myscwa.org and get registered for that virtual conference.
All right.
We will
Bye,
see you next
everybody. Bye,
time.
Casey.
Bye.